Hey, what's up guys? It's Keto. So, we're gonna do something new today. I haven't done this before, but I just want to try it out. So, we are going to rework Naruto-Arena's worst characters. There's a lot of characters in the game that definitely need some updates. And so, I'm gonna go through the ones that I think need it, and I'm going to make them better. So, if you're interested in something like this, please give me a comment, like, and subscribe, and hit the bell notifications for more content like this. But for now, let's start with Hidan. So, what's wrong with him? A lot of things. He has very poor skill flow. His overall theme, concept of the character is very unfocused. He has chakra removal for some weird reason. Don't really understand why. Which, all of this makes him not feel like Hidan at all. He was designed like 1,000 years ago too, so of course he's going to need some updating just in general from, not being brought into 2020. I would say he's boring, just not fun to use. I mean, having that skill that has the 15 damage and some small amount of destructible defense for one random, it just sucks. It doesn't feel worth it to me ever. And also there's very small amount of counterplay. Once he gets his reflect active, like, you can't hurt him at all. You're just at his mercy. And I think there should always be some sort of counterplay. So these are the issues that we're going to address, and the issues we're going to fix. So for skill 1, I want it to be something called Ritual Circle. So the things that we're gonna, look for with Hidan are lots of prep, because in the anime, he is like prep heavy. He had the circle he had to draw, and he had to get somebody's blood, and he had to lick the blood, and then he had to get into the circle, and, a core identity, a core thing of Hidan is it takes time for him to get his curse ready. It takes time for him to use his move. He has to do these rituals, these different things, and I want to capture that in his gameplay. So, obviously, it shouldn't cost any chakra to make a ritual circle, so we're not going to give it this skill a chakra cost. We're actually going to make it grant him one random chakra. Just because we don't want to have a skill that, costs nothing, doesn't really do anything, and that's it. Let's make it do something. So we'll just have it give him a random chakra. And then we're going to have it switch to Curse of Jashin. So that connects his skills together, gives him flow. And most importantly, what I want to do with this character is I want him to feel like Hidan. And I think that this skill feels like Hidan. Skill 2. We're going to call it First Blood. We're going to have it deal 20 piercing damage to one enemy and mark them for one turn. So once they're marked, the following turn, Curse of Jashin may be used on the target. So not only is this just cheap piercing damage, but it also, deals 20 damage. It's not 15. This actually feels like Hidan can do something, can actually do some damage for once, without having to use his prep, his curse. He can just do damage overall. 20 damage I feel is, enough. 15 definitely is not. And it's piercing, so that's going to help him against anybody who has some sort of damage reduction, and when you only have 20 damage, then that's useful. So, and most importantly, this skill also connects to his curse, and so that gives him flow and feels like Hidan. So skill 3, we're going to call it SelfMutilate. So this is going to be his medium cost skill. It's going to cost a tie and a random. So this skill can only be used when you have curse active, so you're not going to be able to use this normally. But once you read the effect, you probably wouldn't want to do that anyway. So it's going to deal 30 piercing damage to Hidan and stun him for one turn, but once you read the curse, you're going to understand why this does this, but I won't spoil that yet. But obviously, this feels like Hidan. Skill 4. We're not going to give him a normal invuln. We're going to give him something different, something unique. Because giving Hidan a normal invuln when he's fucking immortal, that doesn't make any sense. So, to make it feel like Hidan, we're going to give him something called Prayer. So for 1 turn, Hidan's health cannot fall below 1 HP. That feels like Hidan, doesn't it? He's immortal. So every time you use a skill, its cooldown increases by a single turn, its duration increases by a single turn, and its cost increases by a random chakra. So every time you use it, it's going to last an extra turn, it's going to cost an extra chakra, and it's going to go on an extra cooldown. So the more you use it, the more of a reward you get from it, but also the harder it is to use again, and I think that balances it out. Obviously this is useful, obviously this helps with his skills, especially his curse when I read it. So, and most importantly, this feels like Hidan. Skill 5. Curse of Jashin. So this is where we get interesting. So, Hidan targets the enemy marked by first blood for 3 turns, so we're going to increase the time that the curse lasts by a single turn. During this time, all harmful effects and damage dealt to Hidan is reflected to the enemy. So, I said is reflected, but I wanted to say is also reflected to Hidan, which means Hidan's going to take damage too when this skill is active. So, although the damage is reflected, it's more like it's shared, because Hidan's going to take the same damage. However, Hidan's going to ignore stun effects during this time, and the self-damage he deals to himself is going to heal him instead of damage him. So when you do a self-damage skill to yourself, it's going to damage the enemy, because the skill is supposed to damage Hidan. But it's going to heal Hidan. So the enemy gets damaged, Hidan gets healed, and since he ignores stun effects, if you use SelfMutilate, he's going to ignore that stun, the enemy is going to get stunned. Perfect skill flow, very strong, very good, powerful, but balanced, because Hidan can die during this. But because it costs all this prep, or takes all this prep, I also added on to the fact that if he casts this skill, he's also going to cast Prayer on himself if it's not on cooldown. So you're going to get however many turns you have of immortality the first time you cast this, or just any time you cast this. So since you have to take so much prep in, he can die easily while waiting to prep all these skills. I think he should get some sort of benefit from that, which is immortality for 1 or 2 or 3 or how many turns you've already used Prayer, So I think that keeps, the fact that he's so prep heavy balanced, but also the fact that he can die during the curse, I think that balances it out as well. And most importantly, this feels like Hidan. But it's also going to turn to a different skill. Skill 6. Death Blow. So Hidan deals 40 piercing damage to himself. If this skill kills a target, Curse of Jashin, or kills a target affected by Curse of Jashin, Lord Jashin rewards Hidan with 1 bonus random chakra. When Curse of Jashin ends, this skill swaps to Ritual Circle. So this is his high cost, high damage skill. And I wanted to make something interesting with having to do with Lord Jashin and, making it feel like Hidan by, if Hidan kills somebody, which is what his religion requires and what Jashin asks of him, he rewards Hidan and gives him an extra chakra. So I think that really feels like Hidan. I think that's unique, and I don't think I've ever seen that before. So overall, this is our Hidan. And personally, I would much rather have this character in the game than the Hidan we have now. I think this encompasses what Hidan is in the anime, what he is in the manga, and what he could be in game. And if any of the admins or moderators of Naruto-Arena are watching this, please, I've submitted this for the rework, and, just think about it, because this character is unique, and we need more unique characters in the game. Thank you. Peace out, guys. Bye.